Hi, this is Dr. Alexandra Reed with the National Animal Disease Traceability and Veterinary Accreditation Center, and this is the ADT Cooperative Agreement Webinar Training. Thank you for joining me today. In 2018, the USDA established 4 overarching goals to advance animal disease traceability. First, to enhance the electronic sharing of data. Second, to increase the use of electronic ID tags for animals requiring individual identification. Third, to enhance the ability to track animals from birth to slaughter. And fourth, to increase the use of electronic ICVIs. As part of submission of an ADT Cooperative Agreement request, recipients need to draft an ADT roadmap. The roadmap should provide the recipient's vision, long-term plans, and objectives for implementing the ADT program. Please contact your AVIC program manager or traceability@usda.gov to receive a copy of the ADT roadmap template. A recipient's ADT roadmap must be current and approved to be eligible to receive ADT Cooperative Agreement funding. And roadmaps must be updated a minimum of every 3 years or more frequently as necessary. There are 6 key activities that need to be detailed in the ADT Cooperative Agreement Work Plan. The first is the administration of official identification devices. Advancement of ADT requires activities that will make electronic information more readily available. Technology such as RFID tags, readers, and associated electronic interstate movement documentation must be given high priority in the work plan. In the work plan, please explain how official identification devices will be made available to producers and plans for increasing the use of official RFID tags and reading devices. Explain how the RFID tags will be read electronically and data collected after the initial application of the tag to ensure that the technology is well utilized. Secondly, please explain how the recipient is maintaining records of official identification devices distributed and/or applied to ensure timely retrieval of such records when needed, including devices administered through accredited veterinarians, markets, tagging sites, etc. See the ADT Workbook Quarterly Reporting tabs to report the number and type of official identification devices distributed and/or applied. Here's a screenshot of the official identification devices chart located in the ADT Workbook Quarterly Reporting tabs. This is where you record the number and type of official identification devices distributed and/or applied, as well as the species they were applied to and the number. The second activity is electronic records. In addition to the key elements noted in the ADT roadmaps, activities to increase the volume of electronic records that optimize the searchability of potential ADT data shall be described. Priority areas to consider include distribution records, tags applied records of official identification devices, ICVIs, and other sources deemed applicable for the recipient. For instance, bovine brucellosis vaccination and testing, bovine tuberculosis testing, brand inspection certificates, etc. The work plan must describe the recipient's approach to increase and track the utilization of electronically searchable ECVI systems by accredited veterinarians. See the ADT Workbook Quarterly Reporting tabs for reporting the number of paper and electronic ICVIs issued per species covered under ADT and the number of Category 2 accredited veterinarians using ECVIs. Here is the ICVIs chart located in the ADT Workbook Quarterly Reporting tabs. This is where you record the number of paper and electronic ICVIs issued by species and the number of Category 2 accredited veterinarians using ECVIs. The third activity is information sharing. Sharing information quickly and effectively will help APHIS and its recipients respond to animal disease events and make ADT successful. The collection and storage of electronic records, along with the ability to share that information, is critical. Therefore, all recipients must adhere to defined data elements for official identification and interstate movement. Integration of systems and/or communication processes to support efficient data sharing options must also be documented in the work plan. Enhancing existing systems to utilize recognized standards for sharing data, i.e., developing the ability to send or receive the USAHA, ECVI, AHR, and ARMS Data Exchange Standard XML message, and integrating data systems is necessary. Explain what information systems are being used to support traceability, and describe the process and in what format APHIS and other states will be provided access to the data when needed. Recipients must include a description of systems utilized for the distribution of official identification, program disease, and movement record keeping. Contributing summary data from state systems like USAA HERDS, Core 1, private state systems to AHR is a high priority for ADT. States are encouraged to work with VS counterparts to develop a plan for sharing key data elements with AHR, including tag number, date, event type, state, premises ID of producer or state office, and the system holding the data. They are also encouraged to provide timelines for implementation of integration. The fourth activity is outreach. Implementation of an outreach plan for the recipient's approach, including timelines and goals, is vital to support ADT. Recipients should focus on outreach events with stakeholders that demonstrate the value of ADT, including understanding of electronic animal ID, premises ID, timelines, regulations, and exercises demonstrations of real-world scenarios. Recipients are encouraged to conduct tabletop exercises in cooperation with federal personnel and to use models resources provided by APHIS. See the ADT Workbook Quarterly Reporting tabs for the reporting of ADT outreach activities. A screenshot of the outreach chart is shown here. The fifth activity pertains to national priority traces. ADT is a performance-based program. The Trace Performance Measures, TPMs, and more recently the National Priority Traces, NPTs, have been used to measure and document progress. The NPTs are based on 4 defined trace performance measures which evaluate a recipient's ability to properly administer, record, and retrieve documents pertaining to official livestock identification and interstate movement. The NPTs may be modified as needed to measure progress and advance traceability. In the case of any modification, advance notice and instructions will be provided. Guidelines for the administration and completion of NPTs should be followed to maintain eligibility for reimbursement of expenditures. Recipient work plans must detail the following elements for NPTs. Provide an overview of how the recipient will complete the assigned NPTs in the Emergency Management Response System. And recipients will be informed of their performance in these exercises each cooperative agreement period. If issues have been identified, cooperators should work with their AVIC program manager to provide key actions or activities that they plan to take to continue to improve prior to the next performance period. The sixth activity is compliance and enforcement. High compliance with traceability regulations is also critical to achieve optimum tracing capabilities. While APHIS is the lead on the regulations defined in 9 CFR Part 86, recipients are encouraged to work cooperatively with federal resources on activities that will support compliance with the enforcement of ADT. Specifically, first, please summarize the most common ADT compliance issues and efforts being made to improve them. Please notify your AVIC program manager of any issues that may warrant an investigative and enforcement services (IES) investigation. And secondly, ensure that accredited veterinarians and other tag managers who acquire official identification devices directly from manufacturers keep accurate records of tags distributed and applied. Recipients must document efforts that will be taken to ensure compliance with this requirement. Recipients are required to submit an ADT detailed financial plan. It is recommended that recipients use the ADT Cooperative Agreement Financial Plan Excel template to document planned expenditures, which is found in Appendix 7 of the VS FiOps Grants and Cooperative Agreements Guide. Lastly, I'd like to give a quick overview of the Program Manager checklist, which is filled out by the AVIC Program Manager and submitted to ADT staff along with the work plan. In completing this checklist, the Program Manager confirms that all the required criteria are met in the recipient's work plan, reviews the history of accomplishment, so has the recipient successfully met the goals and objectives from prior years, confirms that the recipient's roadmap is current, roadmaps must be updated every 3 years, and reviews the 6 activities I've just covered to make sure they were fully addressed in the work plan. And lastly, provides a score between 0 to 10 for each of these areas. And that concludes the ADT Cooperative Agreement webinar training. If you have any comments or questions, please email traceability@usda.gov. Thank you for listening and have a great day.